we have had, like, it's kind of, I was sitting in the back thinking, oh my gosh, with all the information we've consumed today, it's really kind of weird for me to be saying, okay, let's start the learning, you know? But, you know, I was talking to some people out in the hallway, and I think, like, I know my brain was kind of pulsating a little while ago. I think the good thing is, you know, you organize these kind of things, you never really know how they're going to turn out, you hope, but I think that we dished out a lot of information today in, like, spoonfuls, and then tomorrow, I think, you could really decide, okay, you know what, I want to concentrate on podcasting, and then you can go to those breakout sessions, or I really want to, you know, pursue the apps thing, and you can go to those sessions. So hopefully we give you enough that you might tomorrow be able to better and more wisely pick which sessions you would like to go to. So I just want to quickly remind everybody, in case you weren't here a little while ago, what's going to go on for the rest of the day. We have a phenomenal event tonight at the two events that, first of all, are going to kick off in our expo area this evening with our AT&T welcome reception. We have so many prizes to give away, including more AT&T phones. So please make sure when you check in to the party that you get your raffle tickets, because we're just going to start reading off names and numbers, okay? And then we are going to go over to the Build-A-Bear workshop that is on 5th Avenue. We're going to give you more details about that a little later. And there is a very, very special event planned for you there this evening. And we'll tell you a little bit more about that. First, we have our keynote speaker, and then we're going to have a town hall meeting, which we're not really calling it a town hall meeting, but it's Kelby, so I feel like I have to. It's going to be moderating a discussion with some women, and an open discussion on how brands and women can monetize and work together to connect with other women. But first, I want to introduce our keynote speaker. So her bio is in your program, and I can tell you a lot about Maxine. I can tell you about her book, The Bare Necessities of Business, Building a Company with Heart, and how she created Build-A-Bear Workshop. I could tell you how her philanthropic work has made headlines around the globe, how she's a University of Georgia Bulldog fan like I am, which I love, and we were both born in Miami. I can tell you from experience, because I've watched it firsthand, how she has helped so many women with advice in building their business and how to take their ideas to another place. But I think that the very best way that I can describe Maxine is that in my career I've been privileged to meet so many people, and she is just a sincere, honest, big-hearted, innovative, smart woman. She's actually the smartest woman you'll probably ever meet, with the biggest heart. And I know that she takes out so much of her time to cultivate relationships and friendships, and many of you in this room have had that opportunity with her. I don't even know how she finds the time in her day to do it. But when I told her that I was doing this event, it literally was within minutes that she emailed me back and said, I'm in, let me know how I can be there to talk and speak with the women that you'll have at SheStreams, and the men, of course. So I'm very, very lucky to call her a very good friend. And we are so very lucky to have her today, Maxine. I get to stand up. Now I feel really tall. There's no common ground here, like a medium size. Am I too tall now? Can you see me? Okay. Because I can't read with my notes, so they're too far away. So that's what happens. But we'll do the best. Thank you, Maria, for that wonderful introduction, because we are friends, and we've had, when I remember one of the early days that we met, how much our business has changed since then, and how much your business has changed since then.
or evolved, I should say. It's all about evolution. We're all evolving all the time. And when I thought about some of the presentations I saw today, and when I think about I'm not, well, I probably do game more than I probably should. You know, like I can sit sometimes in a meeting and I'll just sort of go to one of my games just to relax, so I can really think about the meeting. I mean, actually doing both things at the same time. I'm sure the advertisers in the game aren't really thinking that's what I should be doing, but that is what I'm doing. And some people, of course, I'm really careful that somebody doesn't walk behind me and see what I'm doing when I'm supposed to be listening. But I really am, you know, concentrating. It helps me concentrate. And I think about it, I think, I'm not sure that was their intention, but it really is kind of one of those things that you can do that kind of gets your mind off some of the stressful things that you have to do and kind of get back into a center, a good center. So the gaming for women, probably for men too, but gaming for women definitely, whether we're at home, you know, managing a lot of kids and activities, or at work managing a lot of kids and activities, we can also have a break for something that kind of seems instructional, but might also be just really relaxing. I have to ask, because I always do this, how many of you have ever been to a Build-A-Bear Workshop store? Well, that's pretty good. That's a pretty high number in this crowd. Of course, when there's so many women, it usually is a high number. But I'm always glad to see that there are a few people without their hands up, because that gives us an opportunity for new customers. And hopefully you'll all join us tonight. We're really going to have a great time. And it's a chance, if you haven't been introduced to Build-A-Bear, to have a really personal introduction. And if you have been, just have a totally different experience at our store. People ask me, you know, all the time how I was able to come up with the idea for Build-A-Bear Workshop, and turn it into such a successful business. Above all, you know, it really started when I was a little girl and I allowed myself to dream. And I'm a true believer in dreaming big, no matter what, you know, your profession is. And there I was, a little girl in Coral Gables, Florida, in front of our house that in the early 50s, you know, just built. The trees are totally different now, as you might imagine. And, you know, that was like the American dream. I mean, that truly was, sitting there being dressed in my princess costume in this cute little neighborhood with all my friends, no doors locked, everybody running between everybody else's house, having just the time of my life. And I can remember that day as if it was yesterday. When I look at that picture, it really makes me smile. And even though I had this thought about being a princess, and my husband says I absolutely did turn out to be one of those. Life turned out to be, you know, totally different. I mean, I don't think I could have ever imagined as wide a curiosity as I had as a little girl that you know, what my life would turn it into. I grew up in the 1950s and 60s when all sorts of impossible things were happening and big dreams being realized every single day, like organ transplants and trips to the moon and Disneyland and Disney World being invented. The unimaginable was becoming reality every single day. So what was to stop me, you know, from thinking that could be, you know, just that was what my life would be. I was also raised in a family with parents and who told me I could be anything I wanted to be, that I could actually be everything that I wanted to be, no matter what that was. I was surrounded by a lot of great mentors, including my teachers. They were really, really important to me, and that's really why I spend so much time outside of Build-A-Bear, and even in Build-A-Bear, working on education and thinking about our brand and how it can positively influence children and families, but also outside of Build-A-Bear, in public education, because I have the advantages of having a terrific public education. But these are some of my teachers. My high school journalism teacher, Mrs. Adams, who was a teacher that took me on my college interviews. She was actually more focused on me going to college than my own family was at that time. Mr. Rosnick, who was my government teacher, and he later became a judge. He was going to school to be a teacher, just so he could afford to go to law school someday. And Dr. Carter, my marketing professor, who really introduced me into retailing, and who I know for sure I would not have considered a retailing career, because I was going to be a lawyer in 1971 when I graduated from college. I wanted to do anything that at that point in time women didn't do, and you know, lawyer came up really strongly. I always, when I watched Perry Mason, and I saw that, I actually thought Dallas Street was the lawyer, not Perry Mason. I was sure that was what I was going to be when I grew up, and I'd like to still do that, you know, someday. But right now I'm focused on doing what I do every day, which is having fun with kids and families and teddy bears. Teachers are, of course, as you all know, not necessarily just in school. They come to you throughout your life, in your career. They're the informal teachers, your friends, your family, your business associates, from inside and outside organizations. And I put Maria very close to my heart as one of my teachers, who's taught me a lot about marketing, a lot about branding, and really just through conversation, through some really wonderful conversations that we've had about business in general. And in fact, yesterday I was sitting in a meeting here in New York City at one of the networks, and you know, of course, who comes to mind but Maria, so hopefully we'll put that one together too. Thanks to the inspiration that I had as a child, particularly from my teachers, an entrepreneurial spirit was instilled in me at a very, very young age. It allowed me to dream big, as we were talking about, and follow those dreams no matter how lofty they seemed. But my dreams took flight and landed on the decision, when I told you I thought I was going to be a lawyer. And the only thing holding me back was I just didn't have enough money at that time to go to law school. So I had to get a job. So to save up, I took a position as an executive trainee at the May department stores, which was now is owned by Macy's, but was in the company in Washington, D.C., as a means to an end, a way to support my dream, and also, get a discount on clothes. That didn't hurt. But it turned into a labor of love, and it helped me to find my true calling, which there I am sitting at one of our store openings with Jeremy, our mascot, and I look pretty darn happy. My husband had that picture blown up on his desk. A lot of people have much more romantic pictures of their wives, but that's me. And it's one of the happiest. When he looks at it, it just makes him smile because I look so happy, and I really was happy. I'm happy many days since then, but that was a pretty happy moment. That was at Rivertown Crossing Mall up in Michigan, and it was a carousel that they have that goes around like a merry-go-round, and Jeremy and I just had it was the first time we sat down all morning because we were greeting so many happy kids. Early in my career, the May Company CEO at the time, his name was Stanley Goodman, came to speak to us in Washington, D.C., a bunch of young executives, looking, just starting out our career. And he spoke to us, and of course, when you stood up and when you looked up and you saw Stanley Goodman, he was very tall, stately man, the quintessential business executive that you might have looked at, especially as a senior, gray hair, very dapper, pocket square, cufflinks with his monogram on it. I remember it also just like it was yesterday. And one of the words that he said to the group, and I don't know how everybody else felt about it, but for me it really made a difference. He said, retailing is entertainment, and the store is a stage. And when the customer has fun, they spend more money. When the customer has fun, they spend more money. So that's kind of what the two presenters before me were really talking about. If you think about it, moods of moms or moods of any customer when they're shopping, and also the gaming idea. So if you're using things that are fun for customers, they're going to think about your products and services differently. And Stanley actually said that in 1971, a long time ago. So it is still true today, and how the different forms it's taken has evolved. But still, that was a defining moment for me. As a shopper, I certainly had fun, even though I didn't have very much money. Every time I did find something that I needed, and in those days I needed a lot of things, it made me happy. It was sort of a sense of accomplishment. Not so much that I was spending a lot of money, but that I was actually saving money. That I was able to get that sofa and the chair for my first apartment for a price that was under my budget. And that somebody in that store helped me achieve that goal. So the reciprocal of this, having fun, helped you spend more money, made really absolutely perfect sense to me. And that was the day that I decided that retailing was really going to be my career. Law school just totally went out of my head. And I said, this is for me. This is exactly what I know I'm good at, is thinking about what could be more fun, having a good time, being creative. And the success of Build-A-Bear Workshop in some part can be attributed to Stanley Goodman, brilliant businessman who helped me see early on in my career that what I was doing, which was going into the retail business, had a lot more traction and ability to change the world than I would have thought. I didn't have to necessarily go on to be a lawyer to change lives. I could do it even through my own business career. I spent many years climbing the corporate ladder. I worked hard and I learned from everyone the ins and outs of the business world every step of the way. And when I got to what seemed like the top, my financial rewards in retailing were quite high, but my psychic income bank account was near empty. I felt that the retail world had lost its spark and it stopped being, like Stanley Goodman said, entertaining. So at 48 years old, I decided to leave corporate America on a mission to reinvent retailing. I wanted to bring back the fun, give back to the industry that had been so good to me, and have a good time doing it as well. And get back the spirit that Stanley Goodman had been talking about so long ago, putting fun back into retailing, and the customer would actually have fun. I knew I wanted to create a company that would be of value to the industry for generations, not just for a few years. And while I didn't know at that point in time when it would actually sell, the heart of the business was very clear to me right from the start. I would put the fun back into it. I would connect with my customers and my associates. I would offer a place where they looked forward to coming to work or coming to shop. And I would give back to the associates, the guests, and the communities in which we operated. And these are what I call the bare necessities of business. I didn't put restrictions on my vision, nor did I let the way other people did business stand in my way. I was simply someone who wanted to pursue my passion. And although I didn't set out to be an entrepreneur, I ultimately became one along the way. When people think of entrepreneurs, they think of people that are willing to take a lot of risks and spend a lot of money, and they get the rewards from what they reap. But to me, an entrepreneur is so much more. It's the teacher, the politician, the doctor, and it's many of you sitting in this room who have the drive to leave your mark on everything you touch, make a difference in the world, in your industry, in your work that you're doing every day, to leave it a better place than you found it, and leave your legacy. Entrepreneurs don't just build financial empires, they build empires of character, value, and people, which in turn generate the rewards and the financial and personal income that everybody's looking for. It's that legacy, and I think that really is an important word here. What we create of value for future generations that create our history and define our contribution and who we are. So I say to do something different. You know, like many entrepreneurs, I wanted to do something that was truly unique. I wanted to take the concept of retailing a step beyond where it was and turn it into something that was an experience retailing. Something like when I was a little girl and I went shopping with my mother, and those days were so memorable, even if we didn't buy anything. The way people treated you, the things that you saw in the windows, the way the store was animated, all made you smile. Something that would, you know, create that magic again, so that other kids would have what I had. Because shopping was an event for us, and I would tell you, it was called shopping, not buying. We didn't often buy, but we had a great time looking. I wanted to create a place where people would have such a good time that they would pay admission. So, of course, we would never charge that. And there's lots of conventional wisdom out there about how things have always been done and how they should be done and how they should be accomplished. But I'll tell you that being different really does make a difference, and it was the cornerstone of success for Build-A-Bear Workshop. I could have opened up a traditional toy store filled with pre-made stuffed animals, but that wouldn't have made us any different from anyone else that sold stuffed animals. At Build-A-Bear Workshop, we didn't invent the teddy bear, and we didn't invent factories that make them, but we put an entirely new spin on the teddy bear business. After all, Howard Schultz didn't invent coffee, and Ray Kroc didn't invent hamburgers. They just invented how to sell more and how to sell it better. We offered a totally interactive and personalized experience in a completely branded environment. We even painted our walls yellow. After all, it's pretty simple. Yellow paint doesn't cost any more than white paint or gray paint. And so why not give our store that extra sunshine that it really needed, a warm, happy feel, so that when people would walk by, they would smile. We saw the possibilities like no one else because we looked at our business through the eyes of a child, and thus Build-A-Bear Workshop was born. I like to say that the light bulb went out for Build-A-Bear Workshop one day when I was out listening. Yes, listening with my best friend Katie, who was 10 years old at the time. And I just had dinner with her on Wednesday night, and she's now 25 years old and works here in New York City. And we had a reunion of several of my friends' children that live here in New York, from St. Louis, and we had a really good time. And I sat there, not as a mother, but as a friend, and saw my entire life, the past 20 years just pass by so quickly. I know you all see this probably all the time in your own children, but I just sat there and I can remember all these milestones in our lives. And here I was sitting at dinner with them in this fancy New York restaurant, having this adult conversation about politics and the UN and all kinds of different things. And it just didn't seem right. You know, it just seemed like, how did they get older? I certainly didn't. But again, I learned a lot the other night. We all had some great conversations, and it was Katie that helped make retail history that day. Now, this is a picture of her with me in my craft room, which is how we usually spend our time together. We were on a mission one day, though, right around this time, to find Beanie Babies. And when we couldn't find the one that we were looking for, Katie was pretty frustrated, and she doesn't frustrate easily. And she looked at me and she said, "These are so easy, we could make these." Well, she meant go into my craft room and sit down and make a craft project. And I saw something totally different, but we didn't connect on that right at that moment. I said, "That's a great idea." We went back to my house. She went immediately downstairs to the basement. I went to the computer and started looking up whether there were any teddy bear factories that I could, look at and buy possibly and reinvent this idea. Because I'd been to factories that made stuffed animals. I'd been to factories that made shoes and clothes and all kinds of things. And I also knew that kids love to go on field trips and learn things. How many of us had such great times doing that? But she came back upstairs, she says, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm looking to see if we can I can find a store that makes teddy bears so that we could decide whether we could buy that company and turn it into the business you just mentioned in the store." She said, "Well, I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about creating a craft project." And I said, "I know you were, but just imagine if we could do craft projects every day, how much fun that could be." So we did do that. We actually sat down that day. I did find a couple of businesses that were online and that were at least in the early days of the online. This was 1996, 97 we're talking about here. And when I contacted the people later, they all told me I was crazy, it would never work, they didn't want to sell, it was a terrible idea. And so when I came back and talked to Katie about that, she said, well, why don't we do it? And of course, when she said it like that to me, when she was so engaged, I couldn't disappoint her. It was the we that got me. And so that's the rest is, as they say, history. And now we have Build-A-Bear Workshop, and she's still this cute little girl when I look at her. But she's now a grown-up woman working very hard at the business here in New York City. I don't think I would have definitely been as excited about it. Because every single adult that I asked, hey, what do you think about making your own stuffed animals? Every single one of them said, what are you, crazy? Why would anybody want to make their own stuffed animal? They could buy them at Target or Walmart or F.A.O. Schwartz. Every single child, every single one started giving me ideas, like how about, dragons and butterflies and all kinds of things that, you wouldn't think of necessarily as a furry stuffed animal. Or one of them I really loved, which was a centipede, because think of how many shoes we could have sold to that centipede. But when you look at the ideas through the eyes of a child, this is a picture of Katie, much older Katie. She looks a little bit more like this, but this was when she was in college, and we went to open up Build-A-Bear Workshop in Korea, and she went with me that day. So we've had a lot of great growings along the way. So now people say to me when I talk to them, why didn't I think of that? Well, because teddy bears might not have been their passion. They have other passions, though, because they have something else that's in their heart that they think they should do. And any successful business runs on energy, fun, and most importantly, that passion. It's a top-down effect. So when you feel that way about what you're doing, other people feel that way. And I know that other people around you, can get excited about it too, even people that just hear you talk about it. They aren't really necessarily in your sphere, but they hear about it, they talk about it, they write you letters. I can't tell you how many people have come to work at Build-A-Bear Workshop by sending me a letter that they saw our store, they read an article, and they wanted to be associated with Build-A-Bear Workshop. And they felt passion, I think, from the beginning. And I always say to everybody, just ask yourself, what are you passionate about? What matters to you? And can we make a business out of that passion? And I don't think I've heard anybody speak of a passion that we couldn't make a business out of. You might not always want to be associated with some of those passions, but however, but there's still possibility of creating a wonderful business that could be very successful. My passion could stem from the fact that when I was 10 years old, I lost my teddy bear, and I've actually been looking for it, ever since. But one thing I can say, now when I look at every child that sends me pictures, and on our Facebook page, parents downloading pictures of their kids and their teddy bears, that I've probably found it over and over again. In fact, 100 million times over, because that's how many teddy bears we will soon have crossed that mark, the 100 million teddy bears in just 15 years. Our first bear was sold on October 26, 1997, and this year, just in a few months, we'll pass that 100 millionth bear. That's a lot of furry friends, and it goes to show you that a bear hug is understood in any language. I'm extremely pleased that we can bring the hug of a teddy bear to children around the world. We currently operate more than 400 stores worldwide, including nearly 350 company-owned stores in the United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom and Ireland. And then we have franchise stores in Mexico, Europe, Asia, Australia, Brazil, and the Middle East. Build-A-Bear Workshop started as a simple idea, and it's grown leaps and bounds, way beyond my wildest of dreams and imagination. And now we're wowing guests, all around the world. And one of the reasons for that is that we listen to our guests. The idea was way bigger because our guests have been so engaged in the process, from ideas they send us every single day to even bigger thoughts about locations, places to locate a store, ways to run our business, all kinds of amazing things. And the internet is definitely making the world a smaller place and bringing with it big opportunities. Now Facebook fans and Twitter followers and YouTube watchers, Build-A-Bear Workshop app users, and citizens of our very own virtual world, buildabearville.com, are able to stay connected to us and engage with our brand 24/7. Hopefully the kids aren't always on 24/7, that they're sleeping some of that time, but when they want to be with us, they can be, and their parents can be with them too, because it's fun for all. And we learn from them in ways we could never have learned from them before. It's just quite amazing. In fact, last year we had over 25 million hours of engagement on Build-A-Bearville with the kids, with our brand. Now I know that kids have always played with their teddy bears and sleep with their teddy bears and do things with their teddy bears, but we couldn't witness that. But we can witness their play on Build-A-Bearville, and we're just always amazed at the things they think of and the fun that they have and the fun that they bring to us. And now we have over 1.5 million Facebook fans and growing. And at the beginning of 2011, we had less than 300,000. That just goes to show you how powerful a brand can be when you engage with your guests day in and day out. Our social media team does a phenomenal job, and I'm proud to say I'm a member of that team too, because even though I have my own Facebook page, I can't resist it. I do try to do this, but if I see questions from customers on our Facebook page and I'm up, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I can answer it, I do. And sometimes, just before I'm ready to type it, a customer's already answered it for me, which is really great, because that's the way it should be. Is that the customers are engaging with each other, and they are answering each other's questions about a party and about how do you ship, and is this available on the web or is it not available on the web? And I'm amazed at how much information our customers now have and have at their fingertips and act on our behalf every single day. It still is, I want to reach out and hug them. And so I will add my 2 cents, like thanks for giving that information, or if you have any other questions I don't want them to leave me out totally. It's like, sometimes I feel like they don't even need me anymore. They have we have all these customers just cheering for us, but it is really fun for me to be able to communicate with our customers, and I wish I had more time to do it. But sometimes I'll just sit on an airplane and just read through and I'm just wowed by it. It's really amazing. And the questions and the things that they like, most of the time it's about things they like, but occasionally it's about things that we could be doing better. And that's the part that I really gravitate to, because it helps us do a better job. They keep us busy, and we are really glad to be able to stay on top of it. We treat our Facebook fans like they are guests in our store. We really believe that is one of our outlets. And so it is very important to us to be responsive and to make sure that they're clear, that the communications that we're offering are really, really clear too. And so we stay engaged with them in so many levels. And if they have a question or a concern, the team is, we respond as quickly as we possibly can, assuming that one of us is awake. And after our social spaces have become an extension of our brand, extensions of our store experience, and that's really, really important to us. We know it's our guests who know best, and that's why we take the time to listen, so we know what they want and whether it be in our stores and online. So I invite all of our guests to write or email me personally, and I respond to every single one of the ones that come to me directly, and now also the Facebook messages that come to me directly. And if somebody takes the time to write to me, especially a child, but it doesn't matter, adult or child, that they deserve a response. So I've been communicating with a young Canadian guest, Kayla, that's Kayla, since she suggested we open a store in her hometown almost 6 years ago. In December of 2006, she wrote, "Dear Maxine Clark, I think it would be great to have a Build-A-Bear workshop in Regina, Saskatchewan. When you had the mini bears at McDonald's, they were getting sold out like crazy. If the people in Regina think having a mini Build-A-Bear is cool, then imagine how much they would like to have an actual Build-A-Bear. If you would make a Build-A-Bear in a mall, it should be at the Cornwall Center. It's the biggest mall in Regina. Also, I would pay at least $300 to $500 towards buying that store." Once me and my mom were shopping, I saw a kid with a Build-A-Bear box, and I wanted to scream, and I was so excited. I didn't tell you this yet, but my name is Kayla. Since she sent me that first letter and gave me her well-founded real estate advice, we've opened a store near her hometown. And today, Kayla and I communicate via Facebook and Twitter, which tells me she is definitely growing up. She is almost 15 years old now and in high school, but she still has time and love for Build-A-Bear Workshop. In fact, last month she wrote me this note. "Hi Maxine, how's your summer going? I hope it's been great. I'm going to Vancouver tomorrow. Then we're driving to Seattle and staying there for a night. And then we're driving to Lincoln City, Oregon and staying at a beach house 1 block away from the ocean. Anyway, I took a cute picture of me and Cassie. And there's her and Cassie. Have a great day. Love, Kayla." So you can already just see in the 2 pictures, the changes that go on. And I think, Jen, you've met her, haven't you?
I did. It's Saskatoon.
Yeah, you met her at the opening of the store. So Kayla and I have never met yet, but we will. We're figuring it out. I'm hoping their mom might let her come to St. Louis for a summer internship, because she's a very astute and very fashion-oriented young lady. It's critical for you, for us anyway, to see ourselves through the eyes of our customers and learn what they're telling us right from their mouths, so we can really probe and get a lot more feedback. They're often the sources of the most brilliant ideas, like where to open a store. And lots of times, Build-A-Bear has been inspired by many of our guests. Our heart ceremony that we do at Build-A-Bear was not my idea. It was the idea of one of my friends. And many of our stuffed animal designs have come from kids. I like to say that Katie was the first child to provide inspiration, but she's certainly not the last. And every day we listen to what young children have to say, boys, girls, and adults. And we figure out how to make them happy and how to transform our business so that it's relative to their life. Build-A-Bear Workshop wanted to be a business with heart, one that people would aspire to be a part of, whether it was on the team as an associate or to visit as a guest. And I've always believed that good people doing good work with good heart will reap great benefits, and I certainly can say that that is true. So that's why I founded Build-A-Bear Workshop as a place where we can make a difference in every single community in which we operate. Through kindness to our guests and contributions to local charitable organizations, we operate as a socially responsible citizen. And tonight, for those of you who come to our store, you'll participate in that too. For us, giving starts at home. So we have several programs to support fellow bears in times of need. And we've had to do that the last few years more often than not. We have customers who live near Joplin and live in the wake of these hurricanes and floods that we've just encountered here in the New York area. And we do our best to help them. And also we do a lot to help children's health and wellness, literacy, domestic pets, the environment. Those are all things that we know our guests care about. And that was clear also in the Recycle Bank presentation. Also, the customers really do. People really do care. Moms really do care. While we're lending a helping paw to people in need, we're also nurturing the next generation of givers and empowering them to make a difference. And that's really important to us because we know we're an influence on kids, and we know that we have a responsibility to them. And I remember as a child, too, all of the things in my environment that encouraged me to be the kind of person I am today. So we don't take that lightly. You may wonder, does being a company with heart make a difference? The answer is yes, yes, yes. Build-A-Bear Workshop was named for the third time in a row to the Fortune 100 Best Companies to Work For. And I can't even express to you how much that means to me, because when I wrote my business plan in 1996, I had that on there. I mean, I looked at companies like Walmart and Target, really gigantic companies that achieved that number, and I said, that's really what it's all about. Yes, you can make lots of profits and have high revenues, but if the people don't enjoy working there, how will you get there? But what does it matter? And so to us, it's really an important thing, and we made that list. We were just like blown away. It's an incredible process, because it's not me that nominates Build-A-Bear Workshop, it's our associates. The spirit, dedication, hard work, and commitment and heart of each of our associates allows them to consistently deliver a wow experience, an experience which has made Build-A-Bear Workshop one of the world's leading interactive entertainment retailers. I'm known to say, I have lots of my own little bearisms, as we call them, but my favorite one is it takes a village to raise a bear. And it's so, so true in every single thing that we do. We wouldn't be where we are today without our partners. And another one of my favorites, so this one is also true, and really how Marie and I even came to be friends, is 1 + 1 in today's world has to equal 10. I've been saying that for a while, so I probably should raise it. 1 + 1 should equal at least 20 or 30 or 40. And that's what we had to do. We were just starting out. We were a little company. We had to get together with other companies because we wanted to seem like a bigger company. We wanted to offer our customers a lot of variety of products and services, and so we couldn't do it all by ourselves. So we looked at everything that we did, whether it was our relationship with our FedEx delivery person or our landlord, or Maria, when she helped us with our licensing program, or even Microsoft, who started out to be just a computer provider to us, but today we're launching in a few weeks a very big program with them on their new Connectables line, and Connectables for Bears and Build-A-Bear Workshop Bears are included in the game. And you'll see that tonight too, and also a chance to maybe win one of these great games. From day one in 1997, our marketing and technology teams were developing mutual goals and developing strategies together, and now that's a cool thing. People talk about how IT directors in companies have become marketing, and marketing people have become technology, and that's been true at Build-A-Bear since the day we started. And we launched our website, a fully functional e-commerce website, within days of opening our store in 1997. Nobody was shopping on the web there. It was really rare. I mean, it was Amazon, and that was about it, and a few other people. But Build-A-Bear was out there, and we were starting, and I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know if anybody would even buy a bear online. But they did, not very many at first, because it was all about the experience. But the fact that we went out there and we started doing it allowed us to really make that part of our culture and part of our growth all along the way. We believed it was important to have an online presence where we could continue to have a conversation with our customers. And now, nearly 15 years later, we've grown up. We have a company it's in the internet generation, and we talk to kids all the time. This is one of the most amazing things to me is all the little kids that I come across with that are sitting there using an iPhone or an iPad at an airport. I see this all the time, and I'm just astounded by it. So I'm still trying to figure it out. But that's how we have to cater. That's how we have to change our store and evolve. And that's why we created BuildABearBuild.com, a place for all kids to have a lot of fun, and also interact with it on our Build-A-Bear app. Because it's a unique experience with our real-world stores, and the extension into the virtual world, we're able to see firsthand how kids really blend the way they play and how they don't know this, but at the same time, we're also doing lots of educational things like teaching financial security and knowledge, and we have classrooms and there's history classes and math classes, and lots of the games have lots of underlying things that are educational. So while they're doing this, they're learning history, they're learning math, they're learning social studies, they're learning finance, what a CD is, what a mortgage is, and I really feel that that's an important thing for us to do as a partner. And we don't do that all by ourselves. We partner with other people, like in the case of our bank, the Bank of Bearville, it's the U.S. Bank of Bearville, and our partner is U.S. Bank. The interactivity of our in-store Build-A-Bear workshop experience with Bearville is the foundation for our guest engagement. I mean, it really allows us to do so many things you wouldn't be able to do otherwise. And today, kids want to think it's just the only way they know of combining their experiences. They just walk from one world. Their whole world is this world of play and fun and interaction and moving from one to the other very naturally. And we've learned a lot from them. And their parents have helped us develop a space that combines fun, learning, and security, and community service. We always want to teach kids. It is amazing to me how this is, we're getting close to October, and kids are already talking about organizing walks in Build-A-Bearville where they'll all wear their pink t-shirts for breast cancer. And I can see them chatting about their grandma died of breast cancer, or their mom, or their aunt, or somebody has breast cancer, and how they talk about it. It's pretty incredible. And they get together, and they say the time that they're going to meet, and they're going to do these walks, and they walk all over Bearville, and we'll join them, and Bearmate will join them, and other characters on Bearville to join in and have fun and make a stand for what they care about. So we are committed to be partners with parents, with our technology experts and educators to make sure that we continue to bring all of this fun and knowledge to kids along the way. So our story is really a simple one. We're a company with heart. When a guest makes a stuffed animal at Build-A-Bear Workshop store, they get a heart in our signature heart ceremony. They make a wish on that heart. They rub the heart between their hands. They kiss the heart and make sure that that wish is locked inside that heart really warmly and strongly and never goes away. They place that bear, that heart inside the bear, and with that special wish. And no two bears are ever alike. No two wishes are ever the same. And so when we've made 100 million, there are 100 million unique stuffed animals out there. And that's the same way that we look at our guests. Each one of them is unique. Each one of them is special. And each one is valued for all of the things that they bring to us, not just the money that they spend in our store, but that's only a part of it. They wouldn't sell it for anything less from us, and we wouldn't have it any other way. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So. And if we don't get to your question and you want to reach me, that's how.
Does anyone have a question? Yes. Ooh, one entrepreneur to another. We got the entrepreneur standoff here.
It's actually not a question. I'm so touched by you that you have this business that's built by heart. But I want to commend you because we have lots of friends who their fathers are deployed, and you have done some fundraisers where they send the voice of the father who's deployed into the bear. And as their neighbor, I can tell you they play those bears every single night before they go to bed. Yeah. And every single time they ever play for me, I'm in tears and they're in tears. And it really, I think, is so powerful. And so that's amazing that you do that.
It's one of the most fun things that you can do at Radio.
You know, I have the greatest respect for you and so admire how you handle your business, and that it is from the heart. And one of the things that we talk about in this space is that you have to have something to sell as part of what you're doing. And ultimately, your bigger picture wasn't that it was going to be all about commerce. That was obvious. You're in business to make money. That's really not, it doesn't seem what you dwell on. So for people who might be working on this product idea, where do you point entrepreneurs who want to introduce product into what they're doing in a different way? You know, social media product is different than perhaps a concrete product like a bear.
That's a good question, and I probably could go on about this for a long time, but I really think that it is about finding going with your gut. I mean, you and I have talked about this, Molly. I think that each of you, but because I've spent time talking to you, I know what's in your heart, and I know that it's not an easy road just to snap your fingers and say this could be a business. But what the world really wants, and what moms particularly want, I think that was clear in the presentation, is authenticity. Don't give me a bunch of, stuff. I don't have time to read it. I'm busy. Give me the product, the service, the price. And if you can throw in a coupon, that makes it extra good, right? So figure out what it is that people really need and figure out how to streamline it. The problem that we're having today is things are just moving so rapidly. You could just get it done and have it on an app, and there's a whole new way to look at it. That's the thing that it used to be. You had a little more time. I could take 6 or 8 months to write a business plan and develop my business, and it was really difficult for anybody to copy. In fact, nobody really could. But today, so many things can be, replicated. Somebody else can add their twist. But what I say to people is nobody can copy what's in your heart, so don't worry about that too much. Really give it your heart, give it your soul, and it will be the successful products that you want it to be. And we were just yesterday at this meeting with one of our big media companies, and they're looking at the way they're looking at this with moms is just at the heart. I mean, it's all about heart. It's about really laughing at ourselves and not taking ourselves too seriously, but at the same time saying, what is it that we can, what is it that we need? And then let's give it to each other. Let's figure out a way to give it to each other. And so I think that you still have to make, you're right, we do this with heart and we do it with, many, many good intentions, but we couldn't do the good intentions if we didn't make profit and we didn't sell stuff. So you've got to figure out a way that you can monetize things. And that's getting harder and harder in this free world where people give away a lot of things. And I think that's one of those other things is to put value. There's a great book out right now. Maybe you've read it by Mika Brzezinski from MSNBC, from the Morning Joe, about finding your value. And it's a great book. It's a really easy read. And I'll tell you, I wish I'd read this book 20 years ago because I think I was always saying, well, it's most important that we do something that we love. I want to do what I really love. And many times I probably passed up the opportunity to really focus and make more money at what I was loving as well. Because I was willing to do things that nobody else would do, or at least maybe the guys wouldn't do for less money as long as I was happier. And I think we do put a lot of value on that. So that's not something that I take lightly. I think that's actually worth a lot. Because when you're doing something that you love, you're going to work harder at it. You're going to be more successful at it. But there's no magic answer. I think it still is down to the simple things about business as writing a business plan and studying your market and finding out if there's customers for it and what customers would be willing to pay for it. And you can get that research done so much more easy and so much more cheaply in today's world of sending out a survey on SurveyMonkey and getting the answers back in a few minutes. And we do this all the time on Build-A-Bear, Build-A-Bear. We're getting results back all the time from people. People are really telling us what they think, and we respond to that. You have to be careful of what you really do act on and what you just thinking about acting on, because not everything that people tell you should do or you could do, but it's just information to put back in your file and keep going. But there is a way, and it just for some things it's harder than others, but I think there really is a way, and there's a tremendous need. There's still a huge amount of services and products that have not been invented yet, that you guys are saying to yourself, if only somebody had invented this, or why doesn't anybody invent this? Invent it, go do it. Yes.
I am Nicole from Mom Trends, and I went through the HEX executive program.
Oh, good.
So
You're much younger than me, but we have that in common.
So my question for you is that my business is growing, and we're starting to hire employees. Since you've been there, what are you willing to delegate, and which responsibilities did you cling to so tightly that you felt were imperative to growth that you would never delegate or let go of?
Well, this is a really hard one. I know people in the back of the room that from Build-A-Bear are just laughing at this. But I feel like I really actually am a much better delegator than I used to be. But I think it's really important that you surround yourself with people that you trust, that you can trust. And when they used to say this a lot, so, you don't have to like everybody that you work with. Well, I think you do. I think you have to trust them, and you have to like them, and you have to feel that you have, similar goals and values. Because you are going to have to delegate to them, and sometimes it may not seem like delegating. It may just seem like you're sharing, or they're just they get to pick up fill your sentences and do that. But the one thing that I don't delegate very well, and believe me, there's many customers that I can't answer all of them, and they don't all come to me. But I do not delegate customer communication. At least the ones that come to me. I just got a new assistant, and she said to me, "Do you want me to answer all those emails that you get?" I said, "Absolutely not. I'll answer them, each one of them." And she said, "Really? How are you going to find time?" I said, "I won't go to sleep until I do it." And I won't, because I really want to know what's in the hearts of my customer. And there's other people answering customer inquiries and Facebook and all that. There's other people when it comes to me, because I feel like I really can't stay connected. It's my connection to my business, and it's the same way about going to stores. I do other people to go to our Build-A-Bear stores. We have too many of them for me to be in all of them. But I have to go there, and seeing is really believing. And so, you know, it sounds like it's really like this great job being an entrepreneur and running a big business, but it still is like I started it yesterday, and I really still feel that way about it. I wish it was a little smaller so I could remember everybody's name and I would know everybody, but I do feel like the customers are the one thing that I still cling to that are my connection to the future of Build-A-Bear as well as the present. Yes? Hi.
Short for this, I'm going to try to stand on my feet. Rochelle Weiner, I have actually a comment, not a question for you.
Sure.
I want to tell you a little story because I think you have brand ambassadors that are in your store every day that you may or may not know about. My son, who's now 6, when he was 5, his favorite stuffed animal, lost all his stuffing, and he was not a Build-A-Bear animal. And I searched high and low for an animal hospital for our stuffed animal that we couldn't find. And I said to him, you know what, maybe we can go to Build-A-Bear and they can shoot some stuffing in his book. So we went to one of your locations, and we talked to the woman, and not only did she stuff Spunky back up to be Buff Spunky, but she hand-sewed him herself, like a grandma would do. Literally, split the seam, pushed the stuffing in, sewed it, and you know what I was not intending to buy? I spent a ton of money. We got a bed, and pajamas, and a men's uniform, and lots of other stuff. And thank you, because it was a great experience my son had. And I will tell you, he went to this mall that was near our house literally like 2 weeks ago because Spunky needed some new clothes. And
Absolutely.
Spunky,
For back to school.
these are clothes. And he made me walk around the mall over and over again looking for the Build-A-Bear. Mommy, where did it go? Mommy, he's 6 now. Where did it go? And so he was devastated.
Where do you live?
I live in Somers, New York, in northern Westchester. It was in the Jefferson Valley Mall.
Yeah.
So I told him, I said, we can go online, but Mommy, I want to look at the clothes and feel it. So I'm sure we can find them all. But
We're in Westchester Mall, not too far.
yeah, I'm sure we can. But I just wanted to tell you, the employee question, I will tell you, it transcends, I'm sure, from the top all the way down to your retail employees, because the love and the care that this woman took and gave him a box, to, you know, a home to live in and everything, had a significant impact.
Will you send me a picture of Spunky?
I certainly will.
Okay. And your son too? Like
yeah,
my strap
we can dress Spunky up in his, and he still will put him in his pajamas every night and
Oh,
put him
good.
in his men's uniform. Even though the men's stinks, he still wears them. But anyway, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And I wish there were more stuffed animal hospitals, but we'll keep going.
But we actually, you know, people send us their bears too, that sometimes they get more damaged than just needing more stuffing, like the dog has an attack, you know, moment, or a baby brother or baby sister kind of get into it. But we do have the Bear Repair Hospital in St. Louis, Missouri, and if you ever, you know, we'll pick it up and deliver it back home to you. But the closest, there are several Build-A-Bears in the general vicinity.
Yes.
Sorry about the Jefferson.
No, but the mom marketer and me had to come and tell
Thank
you
you.
because
I
it's a
appreciate
great brand
that so much.
ambassador story, and it makes me want to come with you.
Oh, yeah. That's Teddy. That Spunky is my Teddy.
Two quick questions. You guys can go to the mic to just expedite it, Bridget, and you'll have the opportunity to
Yes,
talk to
ma'am.
Maxine all night tonight at the store as well. And I also want to point out that you have the opportunity to also speak to her team members. Teresa is like phenomenal. My daughter wants to hang out with Teresa. Raise your hand, Teresa, so everybody knows. And Jill, who is in charge of PR. So you have the opportunity to network with all of these.
There's many more too.
Yeah, many more.
Over at the store. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, my question goes back to actually hiring employees. I know you said you really have to trust people. How do you gain that trust? I'm having a problem with hiring people but still doing their work because nobody can do it as good.
Well, that is a problem. We all have that, or at least so we think. It's a hard one. I think that the first thing that we look for in people, and it depends on the job, obviously, if you're hiring lawyers and accountants, and you have to hire people that are very, very skilled at that, but we look for people, first and foremost, that care. That's the one thing, that they really have personal pride in their work. And we look for people that have a curiosity, that really want to know more, that want to learn, and they ask questions. Because a lot of people just think, well, they can't even ask a question. They come to work and they think, well, they're supposed to know it all. And you have to, I think the biggest thing is to encourage people to ask you questions. and to say, I don't know how to do this, please show it to me. And hopefully, after the first time you showed it to them, they can do it from there. But they can't read your mind. And I think that that's one of the things that I hope you don't judge them, I don't think you do, but you have to, part of the fun of the job, part of the fun for me is the training. That's why I wish I had a few less people, so I could spend more time with all of them. Because the fun is really teaching and being together with the people that you work with and sharing knowledge that you both have. But it's in the hiring process. If you're hiring the right people and you're really looking for the right skills and you're not settling, then you should be able to hire people that you trust. And I think those are maybe the way you're asking the questions and so going through some of the processes of selecting the right candidates is really important. That part, if you make a mistake, it costs you dearly in time and money. And you need to know yourself well. You need to know what your strengths and weaknesses are and what kind of person you're going to work well with. You don't want to work with somebody who's exactly like you. You want somebody who's going to challenge you, but at the same time you have to be willing to be challenged. And that's an attitude and an approach that you have to be sort of out there for your associates, the people that work with you, and say, hey, I don't know, if you see something that you think we could be doing better, you need to, and you have to force that. We used to have meetings about this, like okay, we call it the red pencil. What did we do wrong? How can we turn lemons into lemonade? What did you all see? What have you done? What can we do to make this better? And we have all kinds of teams around our company that are made up of different levels of people that we can make our business better. Because I know I can't do it all. And I couldn't then and I can't now. And the most important attribute you bring is knowing what you don't know so that you can surround yourself with people who can help you.
And I think I understand I really don't know it all. I think more so I'm the only one that I feel cares. I'm hung up on no one loves your business like you love your business. And I want to hire people that love it as much as I do.
Well, they do. That's going to be in the hiring. And what you're saying is they're going to be in the hiring process. It's up to you to impart that to them and share that culture with them and help build the culture together. There are people. Nobody goes to work every day or accepts a job to sabotage the company or to put it under. They accept a job, especially in today's world, but to grow and to be better and have a future. And that's in your hands. That's totally in your hands. And that's the most fun about being a boss, if there is any fun to it sometimes. It is in developing other people and helping them come along and help you grow your company.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hi, Maxine. Thank you for the wonderful, wonderful talk. My name is Bridget Brennan. I'm the author of a book called Why She Buys It. I have a question about the future of retail, because you have zigged while everybody else has zagged in terms of the experience that you bring to people and the interaction with customers. In so many retail environments now, it's very hard to even find somebody to talk to. Self-checkout lanes are everywhere. And I just wonder, in the future, do you think that retailers are going to become more like you? Or do you see a big bifurcation between a retailer like yourself and the rest of the world?
No, I think actually, I really feel like people have become, there's some that haven't. And I just don't even know how they stay in business. It astounds me because we continue to shop in places like that and give them our money. And I think this is one of the things that the 21st century, especially of female shoppers, should really put a stop to. If you don't like the way that people are treating you, don't buy there. That's the best message of all. But I think that, we were out there making stuffed animals and customizing stuffed animals before Apple decided to customize iPhones and iPads and all the other kinds of things. And Pandora jewelry is build a bracelet, isn't it? I think that there's been so many businesses that have come along where people are customizing and trying to find a way through premium products and really good quality to allow us coffee. Starbucks, they were out there, they definitely were, but all of the ways they've personalized their coffee. So I feel like we're all sort of helping each other, and it's becoming just a norm. It really is a norm for people to do that. There's just so many new ways of technology to help even make it more so, and I think that's the fun of it, and it's the challenge of it. By the time, if you're a person like us that has 300 stores, by the time you put in a new technology or a new experience, then you test it and try it, by the time you get to all 300 stores, it'd be time to do something else new. So keeping up with it is really challenging. So some people determine, we're just not going to do that. We're just going to stay who we are. We just sell t-shirts, and we're going to fold them up and put a big sign that used to say 20 off, and now that's 40 off, and now it says 70 off in the window. And we like that because we like 70% off better than we like 20% off. But one of the reasons people have to do that is that they sell a commodity, and you're willing to buy it. I do think that there's lots of other ways too, though. When you go into this is not as literal as build a bracelet or build a bear or build an iPhone. Like even at Target with their new Missoni brand, they're finding ways, or an old Missoni brand. I mean, I know Missoni, they reinvent it. They reinvent their customers. They see all the levels of their customers. So they have all the products for young moms and, grandparents and cosmetics for everybody and food for everybody. And they also come out with a brand and they refresh it and they give it a whole new life. And that's also like personalizing and customizing in the 21st century. So I think there's lots of ways to do it, and I do think that people have gotten it, and they're going to have to continue to get it. And there's lots of new businesses, especially as European businesses come this way across the ocean and open up in the United States. I think you'll start to see a lot of fun and different ways to shop and buy that you haven't quite seen yet. And we're trying to adapt those to our company too. So thank you very much for asking that question. And we're proud to be a good role model for other businesses as well, even if it was through the hug of a teddy bear. So thank you all. We'll see you tonight at